I'm Jeff Hunt, he's Bill Thorpe, and we're back, baby!
First show of the new year.
Think we make it to Tuesday? We'll see.
I don't know. Do we want to? Have that time off was great.
There's a lot of pent-up debatiness in both of us over the weekend. We're going to get into this. Maduro's ousting. But glad to be back. Glad to see you, Mr. Thorpe.
It was good to see you. And I was kind of worried, Friday. I'm kind of like, well, what are we going to talk about? And then President Trump delivered us a present. I was this makes it easy because, okay, I got to be honest. I sort of unplugged from all of the stuff.
The politicking.
Yeah. I needed a break, and I needed to decompress. And plus, I was neck deep in all sorts of music stuff. And so I just needed a break. So I was not really paying attention more than just casually. And I started reconnecting late last week, and then surprise! I'm like, oh, this makes it easy. I'm like, I didn't have to do a hell of a lot of homework. I'm like, okay, I did the homework on the Maduro thing, but the idea is I didn't have to do a lot of backtracking as far as what has happened.
We had already talked a little bit about this too.
Exactly.
And I loved because when this first broke early Saturday morning, I tweeted, well, this is Donald Trump engaging in the Monroe Doctrine. We're the big dog in the backyard of the Western Hemisphere. Nobody owns this place but us. And then he goes out and gives a speech at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and he goes, this is us engaging the Monroe Doctrine. And then he calls it the Donroe Doctrine. And then in my tweet, I said, Cuba better watch out. Marco Rubio goes, Cuba better watch out. I was like, dude, there you go. We figured it all out here on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Cuba, Colombia, Mexico.
Yeah. There you go.
That's the next
Clear
parade.
Message sent to you communists out there. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. Maduro's ousting. What did you think of that? Is this a Liberty Day for the people of Venezuela? Do you appreciate Jared Polis calling it a Liberty Day for the people of Venezuela? Is it an international war crime? We sent in troops and kidnapped a sitting president. But was he duly elected? All of this to talk about. Give us a call. Join the conversation. 303-696-1971. And then we're going to get into Fed stepping in on the wolf reintroduction here in Colorado. This is wild. This may result, guys, in the federal government going out and shooting the wolves in Colorado. What? Did you read this letter? This is crazy.
This is kind of crazy.
We'll get into that in the 8 o'clock hour. Then Kevin Grantham, candidate for treasurer. Yes, that name may sound familiar to you. He was formerly a Colorado State senator, then county commissioner, now running as a Republican for treasurer. By the way, Greg Lopez is going to join us tomorrow. Did you see that news?
Oh, no. What?
Greg Lopez, no longer a Republican.
Oh, really? I did not check. So again, I disconnected from everything.
So
really?
He, the former Republican congressman from Congressional District 4, now running as an independent.
Interesting.
Could we have a remake of 2010 all over again? Remember when Tom Tancredo and Dan May split the vote and all that stuff? So Lopez will be joining us tomorrow. But Grantham today, Wolves today, Maduro today. It's all of on the Jeff and Bill Show. Glad to be back. Most importantly, though, we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Now is time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. 33 and mostly clear in Denver. Jeff and Billy are back, expecting a high of 59 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro appearing in federal court today in New York after he was captured in Caracas by the U.S. military over the weekend. Federal prosecutors are charging Maduro, his wife, and their adult son with drug trafficking. Also happening today in New York, the UN Security Council is set to hold an emergency meeting over U.S. actions in the Caribbean. The Senate is preparing for a high-stakes vote that could limit DJT's ability to take further action in Venezuela without congressional approval. A bipartisan war powers resolution would need just a simple majority to pass, meaning 3 more Republicans would have to join Senator Rand Paul, even if it clears the Senate. 47 is expected to veto the measure. 1 person is dead and 3 others wounded in a shooting in southeast Denver Saturday night near South Galena and East Hampton. Police say a group of people were celebrating the capture of Maduro when the shooting happened. The 16-year-old boy died from his injuries near Iliff in South Havana. Police have not announced any arrests as of yet. The Broncos locked up the top seed in the AFC with a 19-3 victory over the Chargers.
The 3rd and 5, and Lance from the pocket gets picked off the deflection, and here we go with the run back inside the 20. McMillan is in for the touchdown.
Jaquan McMillan, 45 yards for the touchdown after the INT. Bo Nix, 141 yards passing. He rushed for a team-high 49 yards. No touchdowns. The defense did it all. Will Lutz hit all 4 of his field goal attempts. The Broncos have a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
I'm not optimistic.
You're not?
No. After watching Jacksonville play and some of the other teams. Oof.
But the
and
Broncos,
the fact
defense,
we couldn't find
though,
the end zone with our offense the entire game.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Well, they're 14-3 for a reason, which is incredible.
Find a way, but
yeah.
Goodness, against Jacksonville.
Well, you remember about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I can't even remember who they played, but the offense was incredible. It may have been the Chiefs. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they've had a couple. Oh, and I just, as a side note, enjoyed seeing the lack of offense in the Chiefs-Raiders game yesterday. That was hilarious.
That was pretty ugly, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really ugly. And I just, again, we've made fun of the Raiders fans, but shout out to the Chiefs fans, because you got to be a little scared as far as what the future holds post Patrick Mahomes. And I share this as a Bronco fan that has gone through both the post Elway and post Manning times. So understand that lost in the wilderness, feeling like you have been forsaken by the football gods. I get that. That was a tough one. The thing for me, I understand Denver, it's difficult. Yeah, can we do it with the offense? The thing for me is the defense. I think that's where, if Denver is going to go deep in the playoffs, that's where it has to happen. It'll be defense. And what I'm reminded of is that there are 2 different times inside of our somewhat recent playoff past that we've had very, very dominant offenses, and then very strong defenses came up and punched us in the gooch. And the number one would be the Seattle Super Bowl, the first time with Manning. That was nuts.
That was so ugly.
They took us apart. The other
From the first snap.
Yeah, from the first snap. That was ugly. The other one is, remember, I think is it the 98 Broncos? I don't remember which one it is. But it's the one that is just setting all sorts of scoring records, and then Jacksonville comes in here and beats us.
96 season, 97 playoffs.
Yeah, thank you. That's the one.
Yep.
I knew it was late 90s.
Mark Brunell.
Yep. Oh, I remember I still remember that name, Mark Brunell, because of that. And I still remember that game. So I still have this idea that if the defense shows up, we can still squeak one, because in playoff time, having an overpowered offense isn't always the magic keys to the kingdom. But
I agree.
I'm also acknowledging that I'm doing this entire interpretation while wearing my orange-colored sunglasses because I'm seeing everything as a Bronco fan.
That's right.
So I understand that I'm biased on this. I totally get it. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And I think if you have a home field advantage with the defense, I'll take a defense and home field advantage any day. And then an offense that's capable.
Yes.
You know, that's very capable.
Yeah, it's
of
just capable.
Explosives.
Yeah.
You know, and turning the switch. But that defense is impressive.
This is what worries me. Last couple of weeks, and something that Jeff has been talking about. There's a week where we had a really, really good offense, and then there are weeks where our offense seems somewhat anemic throughout the entire game. Now, earlier in the season, I felt like they made halftime adjustments that made a difference in the second half. The last couple of weeks, I have not seen those personally. Not saying I haven't seen the adjustments, but I haven't seen tweaks come out to where all of a sudden now our offensive scheme is working. And that worries me a bit, just personally.
I think they hold some stuff also when they know they're going into the postseason, and they're going to let it all loose here in a couple weeks. I would think. I think the offense will be all right. Let's hear from the head coach, Sean Payton.
You know, when we understood what was at stake, and now we sit here with the opportunity of having the 1 seed, which is pretty good.
Pat Surtain, the second.
It's a big accomplishment for us, especially for this organization. Knowing what we've been through, you know how long it took for us to get to the spot. But it's all worth it for sure, but there's still more work to do.
So the Broncos off this weekend, and they'll take on the winner of the Bills and the Jags, or the Jags.
Here's 6728 texting in. Morning, boys. I'm optimistic for the Broncos because I think back to the first Ravens Super Bowl run and the first Tampa Bay Super Bowl run. Both had very soft offenses, but dominating defenses. It can be done. Go Broncos.
No doubt. Absolutely. And the Buccaneers, their first Super Bowl as well. Absolutely. I'll take a defense any day if you had to choose, as long as you have the home field advantage. So that's going to be important. Police activity reported overnight at VPJD's home in Cincinnati. Video from the scene showed windows apparently damaged in what may have been an act of vandalism or attempted break-in. Local police say a suspect is in custody. All right,
we had a fox on the property last night.
Is that right?
Yeah,
he was going for chickens.
Oh, no.
So I'm running down there with a 22 to try to chase him off.
Oh my goodness. And, of course, the dogs went out and go get him, but you can't.
Oh, yeah. Dogs are going crazy.
Yeah.
You probably have a lot of fox out there, don't you?
We have fox. We have coyotes. It's constant.
Yeah. Wow. The fox are pretty, though. They are pretty. But,
what does the fox say?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Exactly. Let's see. All right, we talked about the Broncos. And let's see. The Patriots, the Jags, top 3 seeds. Steelers beat the Ravens. That was a crazy game last night, AFC North. They grabbed the 4th spot in the NFC. The Seahawks earned the top seed in the first round bye, and the Bears, Eagles, and Panthers rounding out the division winners. The Buccaneers thought they were in. They win, and then the Falcons with a victory. So the Panthers end up getting in. It's pretty bad when it gets to that point. Nuggets lose to the Nets. They're without Nikola Jokic for another 4 weeks. 127-115. Avs fall to the Panthers 2-1. 29 in Castle Pines, 32 in Westminster, 33 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill, and they are back. Blake Olson News Talk, 710 KNUS.
Your 710 KNUS forecast this early Monday. A few clouds this morning, temperatures around 35 degrees by daybreak. Really nice this afternoon with sunshine, highs near 60. Clear tonight, lows in the lower 30s. A little bit cooler for Tuesday and Wednesday, highs in the mid-50s. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Jeff and Bill are back. Brian from Littleton texting in. Welcome back, boys. Please send my regards to Mr. Boyles for covering for you. He did a great job.
That was nice.
He's an absolute legend of Denver Talk Radio. We're blessed to have him here. You were exactly right, Brian from Littleton.
It's
Well
really
done.
cool. Yeah, that was nice.
All right, we are talking Maduro, his ousting. Do you find it a little weird that he's smiling in all these pictures, except for the ones where his
It's kind of weird.
got his
Yeah.
his headphones on?
Yeah,
and all
it is
that.
kind of weird. It brings back a lot of memories. A lot of,
Noriega
Noriega.
memories?
Yeah. There's some memories there that, I've seen this dance before, so I'm curious
Tell
to
me
see.
about that, because that was before my time, old man.
Yeah, I know. Well, Noriega, again, taking him out of Panama, the weird thing for me is, and the thing that popped up first was when we yanked, but Noriega was ousted because there was a popular uprising inside of the country. So that's the reason for his removal. I think he hid in an embassy for a while, and I don't remember what one it was. I want to say it was somewhat surprising. Like, he didn't go to the Russian embassy or something else.
Well, he turned himself in at the Vatican embassy.
That's what it is, the Vatican embassy. Yep, that's it. And so I knew there was, he went to some embassy, and that was surprising. You're like, Vatican? Okay. That of all the ones you would assume he would go to, that one surprised me. I just remember that as a kid. The other part, again, it's a popular uprising, and then right afterwards, we swore in the guy that actually won the election, the opposition guy that was defeated in the previous election. None of those steps are here. And that's what I find different and curious. This isn't the reaction to a popular uprising where the people were trying to push him out, and there was a large, populist movement that didn't want him there. It was a fraudulent election. But then our move wasn't to put in the person that actually won the election.
Right. It's the vice president now.
Yeah, we're leaving in the command and control structure of Maduro's administration.
Well, also
That's
saying
weird.
we're the ones in charge.
Yeah, that's weird. It's bizarre. This is a bizarre one for me. I can't figure out the execution as far as what now.
Here's my reading of the situation.
Yeah.
I think Trump is stumbling into what's going to be his foreign policy legacy. And for better or worse, you can give me a call and tell me what you think. I don't think he initially intended to come into office and go, I'm going to implement the Monroe Doctrine. I don't like the fact that Iran and China and Russia are influencing the Western Hemisphere as much. When I get into the presidency, I'm going to do something about it. I don't think that was his intent. But I think that while he's in office, he's looking around. He's going, well, Venezuela is impacting our country. Mexico's impacting our country. You have Honduras, Colombia, Cuba, all of them with some form of impact. That's where I think he gets the justification that this is still America first without becoming a full neocon. And so he's sitting around looking at our country going, well, these little countries are all being influenced by our enemies, China, Iran, Russia. I'm not going to let that happen anymore. No, we're not going to do it. And he started with negotiations. Maduro wouldn't acquiesce on those negotiations. This was 6 months ago, according to the Wall Street Journal. So then he's finally had enough. We're just going to get rid of the guy. And I think he has his eyes set on what's happened in Cuba. They even mentioned that during the press conference. Marco Rubio brought that up. Colombia, another one. And Mexico, another one. I think as he's getting into his second year of office, he's just going, I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. This is directly impacting our country. I don't want these influences. I'm re-implementing the Monroe Doctrine. He called it the Don Roe Doctrine. And he wants total influence in the Western Hemisphere. What do you think of this? Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Let's go to Mary in Wyoming. Good morning, Mary. You're on with Jeff and Bill. Happy New Year.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Happy New Year. What's on your mind?
Happy New Year to you. I think that it's more multiple. I think people are missing the point. Jeff, what you said is definitely true, but I don't think you know how in depth it is. It wasn't just that Russia and China and Iran were influencing. They were accommodating resources using Maduro. I mean, right now, one of the big things that happened was that there's a larger oil reserve than even Venezuela has that is not in the public knowledge as much. And I think the word is Gaia. What happened? Is that the right word, Gaia?
Yeah, it's the country right next door to Venezuela. It's the region right next door to it.
Right. They found that oil reserve, and even Maduro tried to accommodate it by declaring it that was part of their country. Do you know what I mean? And they should have access to it. And the World Court refused it. Gaia doesn't have a military. So they're really, in other words, they're ready to be taken over, do you know what I mean, by somebody. And Russia and China want it. So
Mary, I think your analysis is right. I think the importance of resources is correct. What I'm intrigued by is this was really, unless I missed it, nowhere on the platform agenda when he ran a year and 3 months ago for office. And now it's become something he seems to be quite motivated by. Help me understand, what do you think happened there?
Well, I think that there's more than just the one issue that people keep. Everyone's trying to come up with one issue. It's multiple. In other words, taking over Venezuela and the regime change would allow a lot of those millions of Venezuela illegals here to go back to that country. Because look at all the court dates. If that country's been changed and it is not, the asylum that they use to be able to get asylum here, those cases in court will be denied and they have to go back. There is so much that is going on besides of what he's done. I mean, you look at it, it's in all of his different policies dealing with how he's dealing with, which I just think was genius.
Do you support what he did?
Definitely. Definitely.
Mary, is this what you voted for? When you voted for Trump in the second term, is this what you voted for?
I voted for the policies, and it makes sense if you know the background. Joshua Phillips was on.
Mary, hang on a second. Mary, hang on a second. You said you voted for the policies. As Jeff outlined, this was not part of the policy. In fact, the policy, I will submit to this discussion, was 180 degrees away from this. It was pull up the drawbridges. We don't need bases or troops or external influence anywhere else. We need to take care of our own. It was America first. That was the portion of why we had the tariffs. We were supposed to be reinvesting inside of America. And now we are taking control of another country, and we are having American companies go and do large-scale multinational investments in those countries. Where was that on the MAGA agenda. I didn't hear any of that as a reason as why we need to have Donald Trump in charge when we were going through the election. It was 180 degrees away. We're tired of these adventurous wars. We're tired of regime change. We're tired of being the world's policeman. We're tired of this. We need to focus on America. And now we're in charge of Venezuela. Help me square that circle.
Marco Rubio is, actually. Go ahead, Mary.
Well, I'm sorry. I see what he's doing is saving America first. If Russia, China, Iran gets their foothold like they were working at, getting in there, we would have been screwed if we have to go to war. He is saving America first.
Isn't that the justification? Wait, hang on. Isn't that the justification that Putin is using for his invasion of Ukraine? NATO's too close to my border. I can't let you guys take a foothold. I must have control of Ukraine. And if it is this dire for national security, Mary, then how many more of those Eastern European countries should Russia be allowed to have? If that's it, if we're talking about national security, and if we're talking about national security, then China has a really big claim to Taiwan. So if this is the U.S. justification for these actions, then are we not just reinforcing the claims of both Putin and Xi to other countries that they want to grab their sovereignty?
I'm looking at America first. I'm not, I'm sorry, not interested in what's going on in the rest of the world. I'm looking at if we have to go in there, not letting Russia, China, and Iran on our back door is not smart.
But Mary, remember the idea that we were so worried about getting involved in Ukraine is we didn't want to put boots on the ground. And now we're even having the Trump administration talking about putting boots on the ground in Venezuela, possibly Colombia, possibly Mexico, possibly Cuba. That is a huge departure from what we saw during MAGA.
You don't address any of the other issues that I tried to bring up, and that is by having a regime change, that will allow a lot of the illegals here from Venezuela, the millions of them, to go back to that country. That is part of the process, too.
Possibly.
And you
possibly.
guys just kick that out like that's not important.
No, Mary. Possibly not. Remember, it's the Maduro administration that is still in charge in Venezuela right now. It is still all the people.
But they're singing a different tune. They're singing a different tune.
Wait, no, they're just saying they're willing to work with us. So let's see what happens.
Right.
But let's see. That doesn't mean that necessarily they don't need asylum. It doesn't necessarily invalidate some of the claims of the gangs. It doesn't necessarily invalidate claims of groups like Hamas in the country or the cartels being in control. None of us in this command and control structure right now invalidates those claims of asylum. Those things are still existing inside of the country. So immediately it doesn't solve that. But again, if the idea is that it's just about refugees, etc., then can't China and Russia then? But wait, hang on. But Mary, can't Russia and China then make some of the same claims? They could make some of the same claims.
I don't care what they declare.
I know.
They're taking care of their country. We need to take care of ours.
That's what Putin and Xi say when they want Ukraine and they want Taiwan. You are reinforcing exactly what they want. You're reinforcing exactly what Putin and Xi want. They say they need that for their security.
Shows that talked about how infiltrating Russia, Iran were in our hemisphere. And in other words, nobody's taking that serious of what that means for our future.
But that's the claims of Putin. The idea that they have all this influence from the West inside of his hemisphere, and he should have total control there. You're making Putin's argument for him. We're just changing nouns.
Why do I care why should I care? America first.
Because Mary, if the argument is valid, it should hold true 360 degrees. And if you believe this is a valid argument by Trump, then you have to say that it's a valid argument also by Xi and also by Putin.
Then let them. They're doing what's important to them. We should be doing what's important to us.
So according to you, I'm hearing that if Xi invades Taiwan, we should let him have it.
No.
Why not? That's important to them. That's their national security. Wait, hang on.
We made an agreement with Taiwan at that time.
We made an agreement with Ukraine to defend them. We didn't do that. So what? Our agreements aren't worth the paper they're printed on, based on our current administration. We promised to secure the sovereignty of Ukraine when they gave up their nuclear weapons. We didn't. We didn't do any of that. So it doesn't matter what we agree to Taiwan. We can wipe our hands of it.
Ramaswamy
Ramaswamy was running for the nomination for the Republican Party, saying that's exactly what he'd do, is he'd give up Taiwan. It's exactly what he'd do. So it's not that far afield outside of the GOP.
I guess I'm saying, how do I say? I still look at things change as history goes along. I'm looking, and so my concern is, I think that whatever we're having to face, the decisions need to be made and how we protect our citizens, our country, our culture.
All right, Mary, Wyoming, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. I think the flip side of that is, okay, well, if this allows, if this is the justification for Russia to engage in Ukraine and China to engage in Taiwan, well, then the flip side is if you don't do it, then you allow them and give them the justification to meddle in our backyards in Venezuela and Colombia and in Cuba.
Yeah, that's the same argument, though, that Putin and Xi make, that our connections with Taiwan are meddling in their backyard, and that our connections with Ukraine and everybody else in Eastern Europe are meddling in their backyard. We're just making their arguments.
You're missing one big part of this argument, though, Bill. We're the United States of America, baby. We get to do what we want. All right.
That's what Putin says.
Let's get to Tony in Littleton in a second. Let's talk Guy Reese. Folks, wife and I had been talking about updating our home for a while, took a big first step. We went to Guy Reese in Parker, had an absolutely fantastic experience. We got to sit down with their professional designers, and they showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. In fact, we're going back for our second group of blinds, shades, and shutters. We've been so impressed. I was a little overwhelmed at first because I've never actually worked with a designer, but she walked us through everything, helped us find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our space. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Guy Reese has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. Here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. They'll come directly to you so you can get the same expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit GuyReese.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GuyReese, GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Guy Reese. You'll be sure to thank me later. All right, we'll continue. Tony, you'll be up next. Join the conversation. What do you think of what we did in Venezuela? A righteous action? An act of international crime? Or are we going to end up in another Iraqi boondoggle? You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Is this a tip of the hat to the Caribbean? Is this a tip of the hat to the Caribbean here?
I don't know. This just popped up. It's old Jay Giles. This I haven't heard in a while. Give It to Me by Jay Giles Band. This is kind of cool. As soon as it popped up, I'm like, this is
I've
awesome.
never heard this before. It
this is
sounds
good.
Caribbean to me. I don't know, but I think I hear a steel drum in there or something.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's in there.
we're talking Venezuela. What do you think of what Trump did? My goodness. Those Delta guys. Did you hear that most of the guys killed were Cubans?
Yeah.
That the security forces guarding Maduro were Cuban?
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the argument that I've heard made out there is that essentially Venezuelan was a pseudo-Cuban state at this point, and that it was propped up by Iran and Russia and China. And was this okay to allow happen in the Western Hemisphere? Whatever happened to the Monroe Doctrine? We told the English you can't mess around in the Western Hemisphere anymore. And then we just kind of, I guess, allowed Russia and China to influence countries. And then in Latin America, then they would come and directly harm our country. Trump's not having it anymore. But are we moving towards another Iraqi, Afghanistan, 20-year, trillion-dollar boondoggle? What do you think? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. And what do you think of the left? In about 77 days, they went from no kings to keep that dictator. Let's go to the phone lines. Tony Littleton. Good morning, Tony. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks. Hope you had a good, happy Christmas and New Year.
Yeah. It's impossible at this point to kind of predict what's going to happen because Trump has said we're running Venezuela now, and we have no boots on the ground, and we're running it basically through the dictator of our choice. You've got to give credit to the military. It was a brilliant, exercise. I mean, they performed impeccably. But the concern I think we should all have right now is he's sending a message to our enemies, and he's sending a message to our allies. To the enemies, I think he's sending the idea that this is a multipolar world. We're focused on the Western Hemisphere, and again, that's from Greenland to Argentina and everything in the Caribbean. And you've heard him say in the last 24, 36 hours, not only are we running Venezuela, we are Cuba, you might be next, and Greenland, you have to submit to us. I mean, he said it straight out. We have to have Greenland. And now our allies, Europe, are up in arms thinking he's going to do something very similar and try to annex Greenland. Maybe you think that's a good idea. Maybe that's a dangerous idea.
Tony, what do you think? I mean,
I think he made a mistake. I think he made a mistake in they had an election, and Machado through the puppet they had to put in front of her for the election because she couldn't use her name. I mean, she couldn't run, but basically they knew who they were voting for, and that was Machado. And Trump comes out and says yesterday or day before in the first press conference, Machado's not the one. The people don't respect her. She won that vote 2-1. She got somewhere around 65% of the vote. If he had said she's the one, we're going to put the opposition in place and support her and allow her to get her hands around the problems of Venezuela, that would send a message that we wanted to get rid of this dictator, and he was a bad dude. I mean, he's a bad dude. I'm glad he's gone. But all he's done is put in the vice president. She's as
I
complicit.
think he's given her a chance to see what's going to play out. But, I mean, for years, you had Democrats, Joe Biden saying Nicolas Maduro is a dictator, plain and simple. He's wrecked Venezuela's economy and sparked a humanitarian crisis. Kamala Harris, the Maduro regime's brutality against the Venezuelan people is unacceptable.
Everybody agrees with that. There's no doubt.
You had some protesters over the weekend that were standing with Maduro, but it seems to me like the Democrats always are happy to condemn, but they never really do anything about it. I think if Kamala Harris was president, she would have formed a committee. They would have never done anything. Trump went in and finally got rid of this guy. Don't you give him a little credit for that?
Yeah, he does get things done, and again, the military operation itself was impeccable. But our allies, they know now at this point, it doesn't matter if you are an ally. He will tackle you. If you're Japan and South Korea, you're alarmed as hell. If you
don't you think he's reestablishing America as the global might that it should be?
No, he's exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite.
Tony, you just told me that everybody's concerned now. Everybody's paying attention to Trump. Yeah, because America is the big dog.
No, Jeff, Jeff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the allies, people, Poland, Germany, they've got to be concerned now that he's basically saying, this is a multipolar world. We are going to take care of our backyard. Russia, you can take care of your backyard. And that backyard, Europe now has got to be thinking that might be Europe. In that document that I don't know if you've read it. I mean, he outlined this in that 33-page document a month ago, what he thinks of Europe. And those guys have got to be concerned. And right now they've got to be, they're all concerned that he's going to try and annex Greenland. Canada, they've got to be concerned. If you're the enemy, although China and Russia both condemned our action, which that was, that's rich that Russia would condemn us for invading a neighbor, but they're actually quite happy.
Regarding Greenland, if we're going to face influences of China and Russia in the North Pole, do you expect Denmark to be able to throw its weight around to be able to combat those influences in the North Pole?
We had such a good relationship with Greenland and Denmark that they'd allow us to put as many military. We have military bases there. They'd allow us to enlarge those military bases. We didn't have to fight. We don't have to take anything away from them. Just work with them as a partner. They were a partner for the last 70 years. They've been a partner, and they're a willing partner. They were a partner of ours in World War II.
They're part of NATO.
And now he's scaring the shit out of them. Excuse me.
Well, I'm sorry. Got to go there, Tony. Apologize. But I appreciate that. We said one of the words we can't say. So wasn't expecting
First
that.
First day back.
That's okay.
We already hit the dump button.
I'm surprised it wasn't me that said it, honestly, because I've been a little loose with my language.
I told you. I wonder if we're going to make it till Tuesday.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Tony, thank you for the call.
Thanks, Tony.
All right.
And Ralph will get to you in a minute or two. We got some stuff.
We got
up.
good lawyers, though. Speaking of lawyers, Dan Kaplis with Dan Kaplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Kaplis, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Kaplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Kaplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplislaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. We are back, which includes Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News. Coming up Ralph, stick around. We'll get to you next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, Bill, we all missed it. Glad to have you back.
So much weird stuff that happened to you, and believe it.
I know you've been collecting it, so give it to us, Bill. You choose the news.
Yes, it is that time of the morning where we get to play everybody's favorite fake radio news game show. It's been on for 2 weeks, and we are back. It is You Choose the News. You know how this works. I have scoured the interwebs for moments this morning, well, really the last couple of weeks, to find really dumb stories about us humans, giving them even more ridiculous headlines. I've got those stories in my hand, and we play this fake radio news game show. We bring in Blake Olson from the news department. Jeff Hunt is in the studio right now. Why do we do this? Because those in charge do not awaken until 7 a.m. So when Jeff and I are left unsupervised, yes, we will take full advantage. Here we go. Now, gentlemen, here are today's headlines. Choose carefully. Headline number 1, holiday stress. Headline number 2, tricky description. Headline number 3, fashion forward. And headline number 4, shout out. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
A little holiday stress.
Yeah, a little
please.
holiday stress. You know, you might have been a little stressed over the holidays, but it's nothing like this story out of Stuart, Florida. A Salvation Army bell ringer has been arrested after trying to garner donations out in front of a Publix in the area recently. The 63-year-old man was hired as a Salvation Army bell ringer stationed as a collection site at Publix and was standing out there ringing his bell, and that's when things went a little sideways. Well, he wanted to get into the holiday spirit, so he had a little bit of a nip, and then a little bit more, maybe a little bit more of the drinky drink, and a little bit more. And then he started being a little belligerent to people walking in about how come they were not donating. Passerbys were describing him as being more of a bad Santa. Now, here's where it gets real fun. The Publix manager goes outside of the store to speak with the man about the disturbances. That's when things became violent. At one point, Pavlik, the 63-year-old, picked up the tripod and tried to stab the manager of Publix with it. Wow. Yeah, the thing that holds the kettle. He picked that up and tried to stab him.
Did they get paid to do that?
I have no idea, but I would have paid big money, though, to see the dude from Salvation Army take the tripod and try to stab the Publix manager. I would have gone viral for that thing. That would have been great.
I wondered. I was like, man,
I think they do.
I think they do get paid, too.
I'm telling you, there was one guy in one of the stores in my area. Dude was not making his money. Barely ringing the bell, wasn't talking to you or nothing. I'm like, that wasn't good. Okay, Blake, your turn, sir. Tricky description, fashion forward, or shout out?
Fashion forward.
Fashion forward. Oh, I was hoping that we would pick this one today because this is so fantastic. It's so on topic. Okay. Now, over the weekend, and we've been talking about it here on the Jeff and Bill Show, the capture and extraction of Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela was pulled off with stunning speed by a wide array of U.S. forces, and it has gone viral around the world. But that is not the only thing that has gone viral from Operation Absolute Resolve. In addition to the capturing of Maduro and the possible regime change, Nike is taking a boon because the tech fleece jacket and sweatpants that he was wearing during his arrest is now been sold out. Yes, the jacket is listed for $140, pants are $120 right now, and right now they're calling the color Maduro gray. But yes,
Jeez.
So yeah, but you can't buy them right now. They're actually sold out. So yes, the tracksuit that he was wearing. Chances are that you're going to see everybody wearing this for Halloween. It's an early Halloween, but let's see if people remember by the time we get to Halloween. But either way,
oh man, social media has been so good with everything from Maduro DJing to a callback to the hangout pictures.
Yeah, there were some
where they're all
good.
in bed together.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Okay, final choice this morning, tricky description or shout out, Mr. Hunt.
Shout out.
Shout out. A landmark North Dakota law approved last year accidentally seemed to include a little bit of a funny business inside of it. Now, we oftentimes here on the Jeff and Bill Show talk about how it's the special interest groups of lawyers that are writing all of the legislation. Well, that seems to be the case with this law that was passed in North Dakota because there are two fake minerals that are apparent references to two of the lawyers that drew up this bill for North American coal. They were closely involved in drafting the bill, and now fresium and stralium are identified in North Dakota as vital minerals, even though they don't really exist. The Agricultural Commissioner questioned the two substances recently and mentioned in state law at a recent meeting going, this is weird and kind of embarrassing for us. We're trying to protect stuff that don't really exist. Yeah.
I'm telling you this, they don't.
And it says
they're written by lobbyists.
Fresium and stralium first appeared in the bill in the last afternoon of legislative session. Lawmakers were hurrying to pass several final bills into the legislative session. We know how that is. And it's legislation that aims to keep North Dakota on the forefront of critical mineral development. And they are so fashion forward and forward thinking. They are even trying to protect minerals that don't exist. That's how much in the future they are. They're protecting things that we don't even have yet. That's incredible. Yeah. So again, when Jeff says that, all these lawyers and special interests write the bill, there's proof positive. Yeah. A coal company wrote the bill, put in names of their lawyers as protected minerals, and everybody said, yep, good idea. I vote for that wholeheartedly. Yes. Count me as a yes. I know.
Even in Republican states.
Yep. Here we go. That's the end of You Choose the News. Back to you, Jeff.
All right. Coming up next hour, we'll continue the conversation. What do you think of Trump's moves in Venezuela? Is this going to be another Iraqi boondoggle, trillions of dollars, troops on the ground, or is this freedom? And we'll see a new day for the people of Venezuela. What do you think? Join the conversation. We'll continue the debate. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is News Talk 710 KNUS. We'll be right back.